What's up guys, Phoenix here. This video we're going to be talking about two new cards spoiled for release in the OCG in their Duelist Pack 17 or Duelist Pack Pharaoh's Memories. Now these two cards are actually something that I actually really like. I really enjoy these cards in terms of design and also just kind of like a feeling of nostalgia because when I was younger, when I was a kid, I tried to dabble around with like all the little Silent Swordsman and Silent Magician and like Horus and all that the spell negator like archetypes of, you know, the lockdowns of like Silent Magician or Silent Swordsman or Horus the Black Flame Dragon. I experimented with all those when I was like a fetus, when I was first getting into the game, like when I was just playing around with my cousin and friends in our neighborhood. Like it means something to me on a very, very like special and fundamental level of that is like where I came from. And so when I see that there's new Silent Magician cards, it actually like makes me really kind of just smile on the inside from, you know, that like 13-year-old PhoenixFlareX area, like just that entire little span of my life where I was like trying out all these different like little like spell trap lockdown decks, and so all these little sorts of like emotions start fluttering back to me. But anyway, the two cards we're going to be talking about is the new Silent Magician card as well as Silent Burning, the support card that comes out with it. Now both of these cards are actually really cool in design. I actually do really like them. Even though they may not be the best, they fundamentally have the design aspect there to potentially be something, but also like I said, it comes from a very fundamental core of my being where like this was like my starting point in Yu-Gi-Oh, where I was like playing around with these on the daily, like just trying to mess around with these strategies of Silent Magician and Horus level 8 and all these, like spamming these sorts of strats against my friends in my local group. But anyway, Silent Magician. Level 4 light spellcaster type effect monster. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by attributing one spellcaster type monster. It cannot be special summoned by other ways. So you have to attribute a spellcaster to special summon it. Easy enough. It doesn't specify any sort of specifics, so it's definitely just something you can just play. And it has 3 other effects from there. First effect, this card gains 500 attack for each card in your hand. Alright, so it can actually just be big. It can be swole. Good. He can be the whole show himself. Second effect, once per turn during either player's turn, when a spell card is activated, you can negate that activation. That one I really like as well. Like, we already have quick access into the spell negator of, like, the Silent Magician, like, entire, like, theme. Like, we have quick access into a spell negator, which is really good. I like that. I like the fact that, like, this is so easy to summon, and it just does it. It's just like, spell card activated, negate it. It's been adjusted for power creep in this game. I like that. Third effect, if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effect, you can special summon one Silent Magician monster except Silent Magician from your hand or deck ignoring its summoning conditions. So, when this dies, you can get Silent Magician. You can get Silent Magician level 3, 5, or not level 3, 5. That's Silent Swordsman. Silent Magician 4 or 8, level 4 or 8. And 8 is probably the one you're going to be wanting to go for specifically because it ignores its summoning conditions, so you can just special summon any single one. So when this is destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you just get Silent Magician level 8. Neat. If you want to get level 4, you definitely could. Nothing's stopping you from doing so, but level 8 is honestly probably the go-to one you're going to want to do. In fact, level 4 might not even be like necessarily played in the new age Silent Magician deck. It might just because of like level up options or maybe stuff like that, or just being more like Silent Magician names. But I can honestly just see, I could just see this card completely replacing Silent Magician level 4 simply because this gets you into level 8 while also being like doing exactly what you're trying to accomplish with level 8 anyway. So there is actually that, and it's actually really cool. But all these effects, really cool. The fact that this thing gets bigger, very good. The fact that it negates spells, very good. That this entire card is like the entire Silent Magician theme has been adjusted for power creep, and that's really nice. I really like the fact that like all these new like cards that are meant to work with the old themes, like the ABC cards that are supposed to work with XYZ, Dragon Cannon, the new Magnet Warriors, all these cards have been adjusted for power creep to what Konami thinks is accordingly like responsible, and I really like that. It's actually like shows very responsible card design. Like you get good healthy card design like this, and then you get Lullaby of Obedience, which we talked about previously in a different video. Like it's almost hard to believe that the same company is designing these cards essentially. But other card, Silent Burning, the Silent Magician support card. It is a quick play spell card, and it has 2 different effects. First effect, during the battle phase, if you control a Silent Magician monster, and you have more cards in your hand than your opponent, both players draw cards until they have 6 cards in their hand. the activation of this card and this effect cannot be negated. So, this is the closest thing we will ever have in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! To a legal, actual Card of Sanctity-like effect. Both players draw until they have 6 cards in their hand. Now, you have to have more cards in your hand than your opponent when you activate this card, so your opponent the most ideal situation you're going to be activating this card is when you have 1 card in your hand and your opponent has 0. Or ideally, it's going to be something along the lines of, I'm not sure if this actually would work this way or not, but if your opponent has 0 cards in hand, and then you activate this card as the 1 card in your hand, because it doesn't say anything about, like, Into the Void says if you control 3 other cards in your hand or something like that. Like, whatever Into the Void and all that stuff says, where it's like you have to have, like, 3 cards total or something like that. I'm not sure what I'm trying to get at here. But I'm curious as if, like, you could just have this be your 1 card in hand when your opponent has none. You activate this, and, like, you fulfilled the proper activation window because at the time you were attempting to activate it, you did have more cards in your hand than your opponent, then you both draw 6. I'm curious about that. But other than that, like, the fact that this just lets you draw until you have 6 cards in your hand, that means that your Silent Magician is going to go up to 3,500. That's the main, like, point of this. You're trying to make Silent Magician huge, and the fact that Silent Magician will be huge and is also just a floater, and then also can negate spells, meaning that you actually only gave your opponent like 5 real cards because you'll be able to potentially negate one or a few of them with Silent Magician, is what just kind of makes this card kind of decent and okay. Now, its other effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Silent Magician monster from your deck to your hand. Now, that effect does not have to be, like, it doesn't have... I can't speak. I'm going to take a second. I'm going to take a breather. I'm going to actually, like, contemplate the sentence I actually want to say. I would cut this out, but I do not want to. So, its second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Silent Magician monster from your deck to your hand. That effect does not have the clause or requirement on it that says you have to wait until the turn after it hit the graveyard or something like that, like most cards like Good and Evil, the Burning Abyss, and all these sort of cards do. Meaning that this card, you can actually utilize it to draw potentially 6 cards, which is already broken. If drawing 6 cards, even though both players are doing it, if that doesn't sound broken to you, I don't know, like, what part of that sentence you're misinterpreting. But you can banish this card from your graveyard and add a Silent Magician monster, meaning you can add another Silent Magician, one of the small ones, and if you're able to summon it, you're able to control more than one of these cards, so you can keep putting them out and you can keep negating spell cards. That's really neat. I really like the fact that this card, 1, gives both players cards. Yes, that is kind of like the detractor from it, but you can manipulate it in a way that, like, gives you the most potential value out of it. But at the same time, you are immediately able to just get another copy of a card that is going to reduce the number of potential options your opponent has in the form of negating their spell cards over and over and over again. I'm really curious to see what people actually do with this support and see, like, how it actually could potentially do something. Like, Legacy support, if you would have, like, asked me back when the Red Eyes Legacy support had come out, whether or not Legacy support would ever be, like, an actual, like, meta-defining part of Yu-Gi-Oh!, I would have told you no, because the Red Eyes support was very, very underwhelming. It was very late. But then you look at the new Legacy support, like the Felgrand support, the Blue Eye support, and the Dark Magician support in general, and those are actually, like, very, very good and potentially, like, meta-forming, meta-defining. And so I could see this potentially going either way. It depends on if we get any more new Silent Magician stuff, or if there's any sort of, like, spellcaster deck that we can utilize these in, which we can because we have a Shadal deck. The spellcaster deck, of course. But also, you could just play this in the Dark Magician deck as well. Like, this actually just works well with the Dark Magician cards as well. So there is that. And, like, the Dark Magician deck is very, very good at unloading its hand as well. And so as long as, like, your opponent unloads their hand as well, or as long as you keep a higher card count in your hand than your opponent, then, I mean, you get to do these things. The Silent Burning can only be, like, activated during the battle phase, which is actually really cool. You can actually do some little tricks with it where you just, like, in the battle phase, your opponent attacks into your Silent Magician. You flip this. You're all of a sudden bigger than them. Oops! Like, there's all these different things that you get to do. It forms a battle tactic, even though it gives your opponent 6 cards, potentially. I mean, damn. Like, there have been worse things. But I don't know if this will actually be decent or not. I really hope that it is. I really hope that it's good. Because, like, if it is good or we get more support for it, then that's just gonna, like, I might just play this for fun. Because, like I've said, it speaks to me on a very, very deep level. A very, very deep fundamental level of, like, this is where I came from in my, like a Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess if you wanted to call it a career, in my Yu-Gi-Oh career, my Yu-Gi-Oh path, like these sorts of cards are the things where I came from in terms of themes, and like I really like it. It's giving me a big nostalgia feeling. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about these cards in the comments down below. I think they're just fine. I think they're great. I really want them to actually be a piece of legacy support that's actually really good. I really want them to actually be something that actually potentially could be a deck that's playable in the metagame. I really want it to be, because it's adjusted for power creep accordingly, and it's not too good, but it is still good. So, honestly, that is my opinion on it, but I want to know what your guys' opinion on it. As per usual, links are in the description to the English proxies that you see in the video. If you want to print them out, they're high res. You just got to size them accordingly. All that nonsense, yada, yada, yada. Other than that, if you want to support me, clicking ads on my videos and disabling ad block when you view my videos is the best way to support me. Helps make me money, and there's no reason to lie to you guys about that. Helps motivate me to keep making content. So if you guys want to keep seeing content from me in the varied form that I've been producing it as of lately, and want to ensure the fact that I keep making content, you know what to do. And it would be something that I would greatly appreciate if you could take the few seconds out of your day to do that sort of thing and help me out. It helps me out in the spot that I am currently at in life, as I'm sure many of you can relate. But anyway, other than that, I don't know. I really just want these to be good. I'm just like really bubbly right now because these cards are making me really happy. But other than that, let me know what you guys think, as I've already said for like the third time. Let me know what you guys think about these cards in the comments down below. And as always, guys, take care.